Oh, I'm way too dark. I'm gonna have to fix that during editing. Hey guys. Shadowy Joseph here to say welcome to Rio Rancho, New Mexico. This is gonna be a special video. Honestly, I don't even know if I'm going to upload this video, at least publicly. Probably be private because I feel like I should make this video for me as a person. At least for me to watch over and over again, and to really just get this locked in my mind. Because this is gonna be the story of not necessarily me and my friend Brody's relationship, but rather how his life is going sour while mine is getting higher. And I'm making the prediction that when we are 30, I'm going to be miles ahead of him because he is using one fatal flaw. Alright. Now, before we start the video, I'd just like to say that, when me and Brody really became friends, it was a freshman year of high school when I, really started to, get my life straighter as, I learned self-confidence that my father was never there to teach me for. So, Brody was, really good at showing self-confidence, because that's really his thing. He is the guy who has self-confidence, but really that's not the only thing you need in life. And I fear that Brody's life may be going sour because of the fatal flaw. Now I'm gonna get some sleep because I'm tired as hell, and I'll see you tomorrow. Maybe I'll stop being a shadow. Okay. So, we're gonna be ditching the actual camera because, well, there's nowhere in my room where I can have lighting that doesn't make me a shadow. So for now, just take my picture. There we go. I'll just slap some pictures on here when it's time to try to keep you guys entertained. So, first, let me talk about, how Brody affects me, how he has changed my life, and why he is my current best friend after the whole thing with Max. So, back when I started freshman year of high school, I was incredibly incompetent. If there was any sign of resistance, I was cowering. That's just the unfortunate scenario that I was raised in, with a single mother household. But this guy Brody Slatton, I would get friendly with him, and after I would take inspiration from the YouTuber Young Dumb Saska, I would look myself in the mirror and change myself for the better, adding confidence to my lifestyle. And Brody, my friend, he was definitely the type who reeked of confidence. Like, there was nothing that he said he couldn't do, even if it was blatantly obvious that he couldn't. For instance, he doesn't keep shape. He's fat and kind of lazy. So, if I said do some push-ups, he would be like, yeah, I can do some push-ups, even though if he tried, he would bust his arms open. But that's one of the reasons why I liked him, because I then saw him as a leader, as I was now trying to add confidence into my lifestyle. And with Brody's reeking of confidence, he did teach me some ways to where I would believe that I could do anything if I really put my mind to it and was smart about it. Now, I really like how this affected my life, because now I was able to just do anything. I would never just tell myself, I can't do that. I'd be like, I could, but do I really want to? Now, having your mindset change from I can't do this to I don't want to do this is really different. Because, one, you're just self-doubting yourself, And in the second one, you're just telling yourself, I don't want to. You could say that the second one is bad, but I am much happier with the second mindset than I was with the first. So, now that you know how Brody's made me happy, how I respected him as a leader, and showing me how to improve with me as an individual being, let's talk about somebody else that would waltz into his life. This chick named Madison. This chick Madison was... I don't like her. She's really shy, and how she looks, I think she's a little chubby. But Brody, he loved her. He loved how fucking long her titties were. And I'm not joking. That was the number one that he enjoyed about her. And he straight up told me, I'm gonna pound that when I get old enough. And then, these two would actually get too close. So much so that, he would be fingering her. And, when, somebody actually, they took their Snapchat, put that under the desk while Brody was doing the act in her pants, and just upload that shit on Snapchat. That went around to Principal Majewski of my high school. And so, they would be called to the office, but all the blame would be pinned on Brody. Even though this was entirely consensual, the principal really tried to make it seem like he was raping her. And so this was just an awful scenario. But Brody was not kicked out of school. Instead, he was put into a typing class because our principal knew that Brody was a little illiterate. He would automatically have a lot of trouble in that typing class. So it was a very unfair scenario where he would tell his ma, and then his ma would get him out of that school. But since this was on his public record, the right to education was now smashed because of this girl. Now real quick, I'd like to say that as an American child, you should have the 3 rights, alright? The right to shelter, the right to food and water, and finally the right to education. When one of these is removed, your life is going to go down. And this girl, Madison, removed his right to education. Then from there, like some kind of romantic couple, they would keep going at it in Google Duo, I believe it's called. It's kind of like Skype. It would just video call whenever they could. Madison would go down the halls with Brody and shit. But then they would start to get nasty again in video calls. Talk about sexting, and then this girl Madison strips naked and just twerks for him. And just does that. And they keep doing this, and Brody keeps to the camera. Probably gonna have to censor that. But Brody keeps doing his thing, Madison keeps doing her thing. Then one day, Madison's father walks into that. And holy shit. This is when Brody's life really gets scary. Because the dad threatens a restraining order if Brody doesn't stay away from his daughter. Which, rightfully so, that's his daughter. You shouldn't be busting a nut right there. So it was after this, Madison just completely disappeared from his life for a few months. So, I know that Brody really wants her, even though I don't think that she's good for him. I decide that maybe she could talk to Brody again. But then Madison cheats on him. Yeah, she completely leaves him for another dude, and this is the most hilarious shit ever. She went for this dude because he had good magic tricks. That's it. That's the only good shit she ever said about this dude. She kept on geeking about this dude for a week, like, oh my god, did you see the magic tricks he did? And I was like, just fucking card tricks. But it didn't matter, she loved him for his card tricks and completely left my boy Brody. I told Brody that, angry as hell. And at the end of the call, Brody's like, you know what, she may put me on the back burner now, but I'll wait for her, she'll come back to me. And I'm like, oh, so that's what you're doing, okay. And immediately, my respect for him as a leader begins to drop. Thank goodness, the next day, his father talks it out with him, just knocks some sense, without the fists, just more like words, just straight into him. And Brody calls me again, and he's like, man, fuck Madison. Alright, she put me on the back burner, so I'm done with her. Now here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna go to college. I'm gonna get some college chicks, and I'm gonna pound them while getting my college degree so I can be a welder. And I was thinking, yes, Brody, there you go. You are preparing for life when your high school diploma had to be printed out by your parents because you couldn't go to public schools because Madison took the right of education away. But you're ignoring that and moving on. That is what I'm talking about. Brody Slatton can become a successful human being. And so, about a week later, I see Madison again. And she's like, oh, hey, can you tell Brody what's up? I'm like, no. Brody's done with you. You cheated on him. And so this is what's happened. He's done with you. Move on, girl. She didn't like this. She didn't get pissy at me. She just got real sad at me. And I have no fucking clue how she did it. Because she doesn't have a phone, and I sure as hell wasn't giving her my phone to give him a call, but she somehow manages to contact him, even after saying she doesn't remember his number. But she contacts him, and manages to convince him to get back with her again. And after that, I called Brody. I was like, what's up? You and Madison are back together? He's like, yeah, man, I got something to pound. I'm like, really? And so we're gonna trace this back to the beginning. His fatal flaw seems to be his penis. We're talking about the most confident guy I've ever known. A guy that thinks he can do anything. Like, it could be a fucking airplane coming at him. He'll just hold out his hand and try to catch it. But the one thing that beats him is a body part. I feel I have matured more than Brody. Because in freshman year, I had a girlfriend named Trinity. She was a little snake. And she kind of looked like a lizard. But she was fresh pussy either way. I could have gone for her. Alright, I almost did one time, but that blew. Then after that, I broke up with her because she kept on going for you, Brody. And then she actually, she gave me another text about a month later wanting me back. I guess she had gotten lonely, wasn't finding anyone else. And I could have gone for her. I'm pretty sure she would have been much more willing to give the pussy now. But I still said no. I don't need a pussy, Brody. You don't need a pussy either. And if you really want a pussy that bad, please, for the love of God, go to college. Alright? Just go over there and say you're a virgin, and some heads will perk up. I guarantee you. But don't go for this girl, Madison. This girl has denied you your right of education. And on top of that, she has proven to be incredibly disloyal. Because some guy with his stupid magic tricks, alright, all it'll take is some other guy doing the Willy Wonka hand thing, and then she'll be off again, Brody. Do you realize this? Do you realize how disloyal this girl is? Moving on to a different subject, just about the future. My grandfather, while I was here, told me some advice. He told me to figure out my career now, and then make little baby steps along the way on how to achieve that career goal. Now on top of that, he also has a money advice, where now that I have a job, I save 90% into my bank. Use that 10% for spending every now and then until the next payday, where I get another 10%. But as that 90% collects in the bank and has interest, he predicts by the age of 30, I'll have tens of thousands of dollars in my account. And if I do my career steps correctly, I'll also be a professional jazz player with tens of thousands of dollars in my account. Brody, this girl keeps taking stuff from you. So, where are you gonna be when you're 30 and you're with Madison? Well, you're gonna be pounding that pussy, but she might have already gotten it pounded by several other dudes. See, you might not have a proper job because you might not even go to college now that you have someone to pound. What else? Oh yeah, the restraining order. How could I have forgotten? When the dad figures out that you were with her again, it's in. Then, if you stand within 50 feet of her, jail time. So, what's it gonna be, Brody? Are you gonna be some homeless guy pounding some chick at risk of going to jail? Or are you gonna move on and do that college plan you did? That's much better. Most of all, it will get some of my respect back, because I've lost all respect for you after coming back to this chick. Brody, I need you to listen. This girl Madison will ruin your life.